Hello Internet, Shiny Mike here, and welcome to Wednesday Night Roleplay. Tonight we're going to be playing the one-shot of Heroes system, the Heroes games, which will give the players a rough idea of what they're going to be doing. It will be rules light, so if you are familiar with Hero System, don't expect me to be following it to the letter. Its rule of cool will succeed in all cases. I will now bring the players in to the channel.
That was
Sorry about the sudden pull without the warning, but you're hello guys,
Probably
Hi.
all they heard was just the words "fuck toast."
and already it's gone downhill.
yay!
We broke Tim discussing Tough Mudder. Ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, hello, we're back.
Yes.
And better than ever. Not really.
No, I mean, you've only ever gone downhill, Tim.
I know, but no need to bring it up.
Yes. Well, so we are going to be using Roll20 here to actually run everything. The mainstream page that people will be seeing, as the viewers can probably already determine, will be the holding page. I'll only switch over to the Roll20 page if I need to show something specifically, but what we're going to try and do here is aim for a more podcast-esque format, meaning that you guys should be able to just listen along without having to physically watch anything. So to get started, I think the best thing to... Whoa, okay, that was a light just went dim in my room. I'm just going to turn that off before it does anything like explode on me.
We need to get that bulb replaced, love.
Sorry about that. What was I going to say? Oh yes, to get started, do you guys want to introduce the characters that you've been provided in the format that I've put them to you? As in any order, feel free to go whenever you want. Just introduce what you have and how you're thinking you might be playing it today.
Okay, so I character of Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye is a man with a bulletproof costume and who will kick your teeth so far down your throat you'll sit on your food to eat it. He's a martial artist with uncanny senses, night vision somehow. Then again, we are metahumans, so... He has a code against killing, so while he will kick you very hard in the face, he won't do it lethally. And if he does accidentally kill you, he'll just sit in his room and sulk for a few days. I don't know.
So, are you think? So, is that how you're thinking of playing him today? Very much a.
He is a wanted criminal, but I don't know if that's in his super state or his regular state.
I do believe it's in the super state. Was the initial one on there, but
It just says wanted criminal.
yeah, sorry. I'm just going to say this now. I did pull these straight from a existing pre-build. Treat it in this case that it's his alter ego at this time, which means that as far as Heroes games are concerned, they're running him as they know he may have a criminal status and he may have something there, but officially, as far as they're concerned, he's a different person.
Fair
That makes
enough.
sense? Yeah. Sorry, it's just the way that I pulled it from the thing. It just makes sense to run it that way. Or you can just ignore that if you want. It's just that these are pre-gen characters that I have pulled from the core rulebook, actually. So they have entire backstories, but I'd rather give them to you cold so you can play with them that way. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'm playing Hardpoint. He is a, by the look of his secret identity, his actual name, he is, I think, Japanese American. I'm going to be playing him more as a tech head. Hardpoint wears a suit, essentially an Iron Man suit, with a few modifications. And I'll be playing him pretty kind of looking at it relatively relaxed, sort of very much techie with a code against killing. So Nice punchy suit, but doesn't want to really kill anyone.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a good thing to have, bro.
I am, from what I'm looking at, playing Maelstrom. He's a energy manipulator who is surprisingly weak to electricity. Knows and drains. I'm assuming that's a power drain, not actual drains. Very tempting to play a character whose main weakness is a storm drain. But
Just don't show them it, for God's sake.
but
Oh,
Okay.
God. Yeah.
It's not the clown that scares them, it's the storm drain.
drain. Relatively fast. Act about 6 times a turn. And I can fly, sort of. It's quite impressive. I've actually played a flyer in this system before. And unlike the other two, I don't have anything against killing. But given that I'm assuming we're employed by Heroes game, killing is probably on the no-go list.
Pretty much officially.
Official.
And I cannot wait for the next one.
Right. And yep. And the final hero should be Taurus, Dan.
Hi.
Take you've had a chance
Don't you
to
dare describe it the way I did.
do it.
Yeah,
I saw.
Incredible Hulk on steroids.
Okay, not the way I described it, but I'll take it.
Do not rule 34 that like I did before we started.
Oh yeah. So
So are you going to play this as an intelligent character or the blind smash?
We'll just see what happens.
Fair enough.
okay. It's fine. Nobody here does.
Join the club, at least one other person here doesn't either.
Yep. Okay, so for people viewing at home, I'm just going to go over brief basics of how this works. In fact, I'm going to use Taurus's character sheet to demonstrate this here a little bit. In fact, I'm going to try and make it as big as possible. Because I know that the stream quality is not the best. So, characters... Oh, are you going to let me... No, oops. Let's try that again. It's really hard to move this thing around the screen. Okay, so characters come with multiple stats, which start to get really complicated and in-depth, so I'm going to run in this rules light. So the bit that we're really looking at here today is things along these role columns. A lot of the time, I'll ask the players to do something, I'll ask them to give me a check based on one of those roles. So, for example, using Taurus as the sheet here, because I've got it in front of me at the moment, and it is now visible on screen. If I asked him to do a strength check, he would roll 3d6. That's, standard dice format. And he has to roll less than the target number. However, in this case, the target number is 19. So this basically means that, theoretically, he should auto-succeed every time. In reality, that's not true. If he rolls an 18, that's still a critical fail. So it is possible to fail even if your roll takes you above the possible numbers. It just means that you are capable of doing really cool things.
Question.
Yes.
Does that mean trip ones is the crit?
Trip ones is a crit, yes. And I will be running them as crits. Don't worry about confirming them because it's just going to be a case of you've run it, you succeed, awesome.
And back the bunch I go.
Yeah. Skills also have the same thing alongside them. For example, you've got the computer programming at -8 on Taurus here. Sorry, 8-. Sorry, that means that on 3d6 you need to roll 8 or less to succeed. Which is a better example here because of the fact it's actually got a figure there. Now, there are, because I pulled this straight from a template, things that refer to Millennium City or Millennium City University will refer to the Detroit equivalent, because this is the Detroit team that you guys are playing.
No. Oh no.
Don't worry, it just means that if you break down town, no one's really going to notice because, well,
It's Detroit.
yeah, exactly.
Not
Cool.
that we have anything against Detroit. Just it has the worst school system in the States.
Yes. So, I will be asking players, obviously, to call out any dice rolls that they succeed at. Or at least, sorry, any dice rolls they make, just so we know what figures they've rolled, because stream-wise, you're not going to know what's been rolled unless I show it, and it's not going to always be visible if I'm using the holding screen like I am here. So, without further ado, let's get started, because I've got about an hour and a half to play this particular scenario. So, you are Detroit Heroes Games, the super team who's been around for quite a few years now. You've had a few run-ins with some powerful heroes, some weaker heroes, and some of the weirder ones. Your most impressive historical memory that you have was fighting a superhuman who was wearing power armor, who went by the name of Titan many years ago. It's history is that, however, and that's not what you're here today for. Today, you're here to save Detroit. Again. And you've been sent into Detroit town centre, been told that the area has been cleared, and there is something attacking downtown Detroit. You're not sure what, it's just the reports of something big attacking. And as you were pulled in to Detroit town centre, the camera crews have arrived ahead of you, as they always seem to do. You're not quite sure how they do it. Setting themselves up to be able to record your epic fight. Little camera drones whirring around your heads. For you guys, is something that's a day-to-day occurrence. As far as you're concerned, it's normal. So this just basically means that as far as you guys are concerned, I'm not going to tell you where cameras are going to be sat. You're just going to assume that anything you do will be caught on camera correctly, and your character knows what to do with it. Now, as you arrive, and you step out of your vehicles, the camera crews are ready to do the big introduction for each of you, as happens every week when you do your big thing that appears to happen on a regular basis, oddly enough.
Coincidentally, it's 7 every week.
Yes. So, stepping out of your deployment vehicles, do you want to do your big intros? Describe how you are introduced by the Heroes game cameras. We'll start with... well, roll randomly on this one. I'll see who goes first. 1d4...
So this will also determine who's the group leader, because group leader always goes first.
No, not necessarily. 1d4. So I'm doing it on order of the people on the stream. So Dan's 1, Mel's 2, Squeak's 3, Tim is 4. And it helps if I actually do it correctly. 4. Apparently it's Tim. So Tim, you step out first.
Slowly stepping out of the deployment vehicle is a tall, shrouded character who lifts up a single hand, grips the left shoulder of his cloak, dramatically flinging it aside to reveal the black and red latex glory that is Eagle Eye. His characteristic feathered mask and yellow beak overstretching the nose.
Freeze frame
All right.
as the show zooms in on just him, and the name Eagle Eye spreads across the screen.
What the hell are we, Borderlands?
Yes, might as well be.
What's the fun little fact about me at the bottom?
Eagle Eye. No, he's not an eagle, but he does have eyes. Right. 1d3. Next to go, Dan.
Oh,
You step out of the vehicle.
Die. Runs away in fear.
The meek Taurus sort of sees the cameras and goes the other way.
Come on, Taurus. We got a job to do.
No.
No one toy for you 10 years ago.
Would you do it for a Taurus snack?
No.
I've got
Come on, we've done this
steak.
all before.
Do I need to joy buzzer him?
No.
Freeze frame
I've
of
got steak.
Taurus! Taurus splashed across the screen. He's not really afraid of everything, we think.
Ah, graphics!
Okay. Right, we're down to the last two then. That puts us on Squeak, Maelstrom.
Okay, going to do this very stereotypically energy-based user, which I'm going to assume that the power blast is visible, less with
Yeah.
a few.
Yes.
Basically, jump up, step down, sparkles.
Cool. Freeze frame, Maelstrom. Could power an entire city. And of course, Mel with hardpoint.
Hardpoint steps from the vehicle. Hardpoint doesn't step from the vehicle. There's a sunroof. I have flying boots, bitches. Doesn't actually say that, but just sort of full shoulders, launches through the sunroof of the vehicle. His seat has been adjusted specifically to permit him to just go.
Cool.
Ever since
Freeze
the-
frame, hardpoint. Doesn't use doors.
I was expecting it to be the "I have flying boots, bitches."
That's the quote on his Heroes game card. Turns out that he's got +2 in Snark.
Mr. Snark, I don't feel so good.
Oh,
I am +20 in fear.
Cool. You step out of the vehicle, your cool intro's done, the camera crews pull to one side, and you move towards the scene of battle. In the middle of the street, standing there, towering above all the vehicles, is a giant lizard.
Didn't we
Yeah.
fight one of these last week?
lizard,
No, we haven't fought a giant lizard. We haven't fought Gojira before.
lizard,
Really?
Gojira?
Godzilla.
That's not the flying whales he was singing about.
Hey, Taurus, you've always wanted to punch Godzilla, haven't you?
No.
Well, here's your chance for a new dream.
Oh.
Come on, guys. Let's find out what the lizard can do.
Make lizard.
I'm gonna. I'm still flying, by the way, this whole
Yep.
time.
That's fine.
There is no point at which I am going to stop flying unless something smacks me to the earth.
In other words, your character has flight, you want to fly, god damn it, you're flying.
Yes.
Essentially.
Okay. So, going around the board here, Mel, you said that you're going to be doing something there. What was you're obviously flying,
sort
but
of-
what are you doing while flying?
I'm flying round the creature, and I am going to unleash just to get a rough idea of how pissed off this thing is. It's gonna be too big. Would I know if it's too big for a Tangler bomb?
There's no harm in trying it. You don't know until you
I-
shoot it with these things because.
Actually, no. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna flare blast it.
Okay. So,
Puts
so
head in hand.
okay. So you proceed to target the creature's face, and this would be. Ooh, been a while since I've had to do this, so let me just remember the exact process we have to follow here. You're going to need to roll your bugger.
TI
Roll a bugger.
As I say, it's been a while since I've actually run this, so I've suddenly forgotten off the top of my head which one I need to be using. I do have it here somewhere. Give me a moment.
So,
Um,
lizard steaks for dinner tonight.
Yes. Well, you know what? It's a large target for starters. You're just doing a flare on it, so you're wanting to try and flash in the area around its face. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm going to be aiming to. If the creature has eyes, I'm trying to blind it.
Okay then.
Not.
In that case, it's a dexterity roll on this one to get the shot off in that general direction. And everyone else in the area, I want you to be defensive ability thinging. Have this.
Which one?
I have this. I'm really sorry. I will get the hang of this eventually. I will eventually learn how to run a game without panicking middle of the game about the fact that I've. Sorry.
Is it what we want, the DCV?
DCV. Yes, that's it. So. There's a specific thing you have to roll on it, and I've got the rule books here. That one.
Sorry, guys, you'll have to bear with us a bit for this one because there's three veterans of the system, and two complete newbies, i.e., me and Dan are the newbies. Everyone else has played the system before. I
Yes,
have no
it's-
idea what I'm doing.
It's fine. To be honest with you, it's been a while since I've run this one, and I know it's not determining damage; it's determining how to hit. Fighting, how combat works, 34. That's what I'm looking for.
So
That moment where you have to pause the
This puts
battle and ask your opponent to wait while you
Yeah.
figure out how to fight.
Right. Okay. So, in this case, you'll need to roll your attack roll. So 3d6, and then you add 11 to your OCV and subtract the roll from that total. Okay. So roll me 3d6 first of all.
Okay. Okay.
So you got 6. So
Yep.
your OCV is 25. So add 11. No, hang on. Sorry, it's 8. Sorry, your OCV is 8. So add 11 to that. That makes it 20. Brain. I will brain this.
11 to 8 makes it 19.
Thank you. Minus the 6 that you've just rolled. And that's the DCV that you can hit. So, in other words, you can hit a DCV of. Math. 10.
13. Oh.
No, 13. Thank you. I'll get there in the end. So, for the creature that we've got here, it's fairly big, it's fairly tough. However, that makes it really quite an easy target. So, yes, at a 13, you will hit it in this particular instance. So, in that case, you now roll for damage, which it's a flare damage we're looking at here. So, flash of 12d6 is what it rolls.
Jesus.
48.
48! That's a lot of 6s. The creature roars, stumbling backwards, trampling several cars underneath its huge feet.
Oops.
No, it's just a Ford Escort. No one's gonna miss it.
Okay,
Hey,
so
Thomas, hit him now.
so with that being the case, it's now stunned, blinded, unable to work out what it's doing.
Excellent.
Thank you, Upton Star, for the follow there, by the way. So yeah, stumble, blinding. Does anyone want to step in and take over from this point?
Yes.
Okay.
Because not only is it going to be blinded, but I'm going to run forward and let's see. I think for this attack as an OCV, I get to add +2. If it's under powers and it has OCV +2, do I add that to the OCV? Or would I roll?
Hang on a second. Let me just double check that. Underpowered, you said. So you're playing.
Powers,
Oh, under powers.
Eagle Eye.
Yes, powers. So which one are you using, sir? Sorry.
Leg sweep.
Leg sweep. Okay. For that one, yes, you add 2 to your OCV. So same again. So it's OCV plus 11
Yep.
plus the OCV of the leg sweep plus 3 minus 3d6.
So hang on, let's see. How do I make this thing roll dice?
It's slash
there
R.
we go. I found it. Roll 3d6.
Seeing this, can I bubble the group of us that are down on the ground?
We'll get to that in a moment there, sweetie.
6.
6. Okay, this is good because you're rolling low. Low numbers are good in this system.
So it's my
OC.
OCV.
Yep.
Of 8 plus 2 from the leg sweep.
Yep.
10. 21 from the 11.
Yep.
Minus 6 makes 15.
So, in this instance, yes, you successfully perform your leg sweep attack. So
Excellent. The target falls.
now, considering the size of the creature, I'm still going to ask that you roll the damage on it, and yes, it will stumble.
I was about to say that's fair. I don't think letting this thing fall over would be very fair.
Yes.
I think it'd be hilarious because, it's probably going to fall towards you.
28 for damage.
28. Excellent.
I basically kicked it in the back of the knee.
So your massive strike to the back of the knee, but that one is just standard stun damage. Is that one? So bang, straight into the back of the knee. The creature roars in pain, a jet of fire erupting from its mouth.
Whoa, hot customer.
Oh,
So, Squeak, you mentioned that you were going to do some bubbling. Is that correct?
yes, because somebody doesn't think the consequences of their actions through very frequently, do they?
When have I ever thought of consequences, Maelstrom?
Giant thing.
I'm
Can I
going
just
to
say-
thing, and I'm going to kick it.
Can I just say, when there's a fire burst, what you hear from over the comm from Hardpoint is
Oh, is this an
Hardpoint is
excited? Or terror?
excited.
Hard point? No.
Goyena!
So, for the bubble that you're looking for, are you using your your force field?
Yep.
Okay, so basically that one is just straight activate. The force field enacts. Simple as. Boom. Field's up.
I'm envisioning it like Steven Universe's bubble. It's just a
Resistance protection, so everyone can gain a bit of damage protection against this one if it does attack you.
Don't forget, have you bubbled it or have you bubbled you guys?
I've bubbled us, not it. I think it's out of my size range.
Yes. Okay, this leaves us Dan. What are you looking to do on this one?
Ich regiere in den Schwarzenschlagen.
I think he's
What?
aiming for a mad shot.
Oh, okay, you're aiming for the nuts.
Then that just smash.
Sorry, I just realised I'm supposed to be German.
Ah, right.
You actually Google Translate.
Okay, that is impressive. I'll give you kudos for that one. Oh.
Okay.
His character has to constantly have subtitles underneath him.
See, I'm from a Japanese anime.
Yes.
Oh, Godzilla.
Excellent. So yes, you were screaming German, I'm assuming, before aiming for the Nadgers, was that?
Yes.
Go for it.
Playing Reinhold without his hammer.
Screams in German.
Okay.
It-
12.
Ooh.
Right, so you roll a 12 on that one. Ooh, that's... Okay.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable number. However, let's do some quick maths on this one. Your attack that you're using, which attack are you using at this time?
A standard punch to the dick.
Okay, so it's a standard punch attack. That would be... Hang on, I have this one. Yeah, so 12 That would mean that your the DCV that you can hit would be a 7. Based on that roll. Your dice don't... I'm really sorry, Dan. This happens every time, doesn't it? Your dice hate
One
you.
moment. That needs to go in out of context.
You know what, though? Considering the size of this monstrosity, and you're aiming for a rather large target,
Massive cojones.
it's not the most graceful of attacks you've ever made. I'll allow you to land it, but you do half of your damage in this particular instance.
That's fine.
Okay, so 10d6 for the hand-to-hand damage.
Oh. Learn a spell. Learn a spell. Please be good. 42.
42! Nice!
4 6s.
So,
Jesus.
yeah, that's impressive. So, in this instance, with the halving, that puts you down at 21. So, another roar of pain, slightly higher pitched this time, and yet another gout of flame erupts into the sky as the creature drops to its knees, seemingly...
Kian Kinder for a dick.
Was that no kids for you?
Yes.
Oh, dear.
I'm fairly certain any Germans listening will be screaming at the grammar that you're coming out with, because I'm fairly certain that some of your grammar is going to be awful, but oh wow.
Here.
Wonderful. So, yes, you proceed to get the creature to drop to its knees, screaming in agony. It's at this point that you realise that that was just the initial opening strike. You now move to
Scheiße.
actual combat. Dum dum dum.
So, guys, do we have a backup plan for when this didn't work?
Keep punching till it goes down.
I can
We
work
are
with
fighting
that.
Godzilla.
We are not fighting Godzilla.
I think
Oh.
we are.
Please fire! It is Godzilla.
Godzilla is an owned and trademarked name. We can't be fighting it, or we'll get sued.
So we're fighting a kaiju. Oh no! Tonight.
We're fighting a giant kaiju. I don't
Yeah.
have a mech. Well, I have
Well,
power
you
suit,
do,
so
it's just
same
woefully
difference.
undersized.
Wonderful. Okay, so I just need to make notes of turns on this one. So, the way that actual combat works on this one is a phase-based system. So there are 12 rounds in a turn. Sorry, 12 phases in a turn, sorry. And everyone gets to act on that on their phases. So, I'm going to start calling out phases. And in each phase, you get to do something. This creature is not exactly the fastest and smartest creature in the playhouse. However, it doesn't stop it being quite dangerous. So I just need to pull up the standard speed for add character.
Standard speed for a giant lizard.
Well,
Oh, what I wouldn't
Speed
give
to-
to have Ice Queen. Problem solved.
Let's be fair, let's not remember the last time Ice Queen fought something giant. I like my brains where they are, thanks.
right. Right, so I'm going to call out phases, and you need to tell me if your character acts on that phase, because I'm not going to be able to keep track of everyone's turns. So, start of combat. Phase 1. Does anyone act on phase 1?
I do.
Do you?
Yes.
You're Maelstrom, right?
Yep. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 1.
I don't know why it puts 1 at the end there. That's really confusing. Hang on, you're speed 6. That should be 12.
Ah.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
no, I
speed 6 as
don't
well,
act.
and I don't act on 1.
Yeah, I was going to say that didn't make sense. Yeah, it should be 12.
Okay. So, no, I don't act on 1.
Okay, that's fine. In that case, acting on phase 2, however, I do know that 2 of you should be able to. So,
Yep.
in that case, can I have from you... Where is it now? A dexterity check. So roll off against each other on dexterity. And
3d6, yeah?
3d6.
12.
So,
Okay.
Fuck.
So add your dex to that because of how I'm doing it.
29.
So I add my dex, or I take it away from the
Add your
roll?
dex figure. So
Value.
yeah, the value of the
Oh,
dex.
value.
Yeah, I'm doing it that way because that
Uh,
way, there's still a chance to go ahead of other people. So you've got Dex 24, Tim. Squeak has Dex 23. I think, to be honest with you, with that, Tim, on your 12 that you've rolled, that means that you'll be going first this phase.
Excellent.
So, if you, so what do you wish to do with?
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
How tall is this thing?
You're probably looking
In
maybe.
meters.
I can do it in stories.
Damn. Okay.
900 meter.
However,
Okay.
if I'm able to connect with the back of his knee with a standard attack...
It's about 3 stories tall.
Okay, so would I be able to reach its head with a standard 10-meter jump?
I'm trying to think how tall a standard house is. I think you would actually, because 10 meters is quite some height. So yes.
Excellent! Because I am a strong leaper, I am able to leap 10 meters up into the air, roughly level with its face.
Okay. So you're going to leap 10 meters up into the air, and you're going to.
One moment, because I need to make the roll for this. So I make the roll, and then I take it away from my OCV plus whatever attack I plus 11, correct?
Well, the strong leaper doesn't require you to roll anything on that one. It basically allows you to move 10 meters upwards effectively. What
Do I
does
not get
require
2 actions?
what does require you to do something is if you're actually attacking.
I am actually attacking.
Yes, but what is your attack? That's what I'm asking you.
That's why I'm trying to work out what. Hang on, I'm using the. I'm using the punch/snap kick.
Right, which is a +0, so you add 11 to your roll.
Yep.
So 11 to your
Okay.
OCV, sorry. And then you
11
roll
to
your
my
dice.
OCV, so that's 19. I roll 3d6. 5.
Okay, so you
14.
get 14, which, as we've already determined, is definitely more than enough to actually hit this particular target.
And I roll 10d6 damage
Go for it.
as he jumps up and utters the immortal words. Oe wa moshinderu!
Oh god. Fuck me.
Whack!
Show the attack
Square
on.
in the nose.
Letter.
A solid strike to the face with a snap kick. The creature roaring again in agony as you drop back down to the floor.
You
Applaud
are
it.
already dead.
Okay, the next character to go will be Squeak.
Yay! Okay. I am going to use my Power Blast, my
Okay.
first one, which uses 6 endurance.
Okay.
So
Endurance
that's
here is the endurance here for the listeners is important because the endurance basically determines how much a character can do before they run out of the ability to use their powers. So right now, Squeak is going to try and basically spend some of that to be able to do an action.
Oh, I'm gonna just make a quick note of the PowerPoints I just burned.
Yes.
So my endurance is 50.
Yep.
I have more than enough because my force field doesn't use anything. So
Yep.
that would take me down to 44, wouldn't it, in terms of endurance I have left to spend for the remainder of the round?
That is correct. Yes.
Okie doke. So doing that, now what do? Do I use my offense? Do I roll for my offensive combat value?
Yes,
my
you do.
OCV?
Your CV as before. Yes.
10, I do not.
10. Well, so in other words, your target DCV is 9, which
Yeah. I don't. It fizzles.
well, no, because right. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, it's your OCV plus 11 minus what you roll on the dice is what the DCV is you can hit. So technically, the OCV should just be 11 higher, and then you just roll and take off the OCV. That should be the way they do it, but they don't.
Okay,
Include
so
the
I'm doing
attack
it.
in that as well.
So I do.
Yep. So you barely hit it.
Yep, that's fine. It's a blast. It's fine. So that's 12d6.
12d6 to do damage.
12d6. 42! We seem...
I'm
the
seeing a theme here. In fact, is that the first time you? Is that the second time you've rolled it, or the third? Third time. Yeah, third time that's been rolled today so far.
So long and thanks, we rolled the fish.
Why would you go down, Gojira?
So you do even more.
Selling.
Yeah. So you blast it with your power blast, doing some significant damage to the creature. As you keep doing. Right. So next phase, unless anyone else goes on 2, which I don't think you do.
Nope.
Okay. So next phase is phase 3. Anyone who is on phase 3. Okay. Can I have the 3d6 plus your dexterity, please?
Okay, so R3d6 plus dex.
Yes, that's correct.
Dex value.
The
Okay.
value.
37.
I
So
didn't even have to spend endurance. I love this character.
Yep.
I've got. Wait, what?
Mine.
Squeak
This is
spent a
in
lot of
the
endurance.
wrong bit.
Dan's got a slightly higher one.
Oh, no,
Slightly
Caroline,
higher.
So Mel rolls 37 with the here as the total figure. Dan rolls 44. So far, Dan is definitely going first. However, something else has to have an action as well. 3d6 plus what was it again? That was it.
Nice Godzilla.
Who
Oh,
said
what time has
Godzilla
that
can have a turn?
You want fish? We got fish. This
The
is the choice.
DM. Oh wait, I rolled 48 earlier, so oh god, I didn't
Okay.
damage.
You've done the most damage so far. So yes, in terms of who goes first, it looks like Taurus or Dan manages to act first this phase.
Have to be in the wrong bit. Mine's in speed. So what do I do here then?
Right, so you've got the choice of using any one of your abilities if you choose to do so, or you could just do, as you did earlier, a straight up attack. Obviously, everything has different effects on there as to what it does.
Let's give the old shockwave a go.
Cool.
Ooh.
So,
Uh-oh.
striking the ground, you enact a shockwave. Roll me 3d6.
9.
9. So that's that, and effect service 4 meter radius for up to 50 strength. So
I don't know how many endurance I have.
with your OCV, that means you can hit 10, which means you're definitely hitting the target based on what we've got so far. Your shockwave ripples out. Your teammates stumble a little bit, those ones that are still boots on the ground.
Ooh.
God damn it, Hardpoint!
However, you've directed the attack more in the direction of the creature, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay, meaning that the creature will take an area of effect attack, which means that roll me your hand-to-hand damage once again.
Just another 3d6.
10d6 in this case.
Oop. Nearly copy and pasted that. 27.
27. Not the highest damage that's been output so far today, but significant enough to, again, make it stumble. It's struggling to maintain an upright position at this time.
Gojira, there's a river deck. You just fall in it.
In Detroit, that will kill it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this brings us over to Mela.
Hardpoint goes. Okay. Laser! I'm firing my laser. Wait, that might be copyrighted. Oh well, laser! pulse-on beam.
The constant fear of copyrights is real, folks.
Yes, it is.
So Hardpoint is going to pulse-on. Hang on. Let me just
Pulse
get it
on
up.
blast.
He's going to it's going to pulse-on blast.
Yep.
At this gigantic monster, so I'm guessing second verse, same as the first, 3d6.
Yep, 3d6 if you could, yep.
11.
11,
Ooh.
excellent. So, that puts you bang on 8, which means that based on the previous information, it's barely a hit with how big this thing is. So roll me your 12d6, but half the outcome. 20. So you
20.
do 10 points of damage.
No,
skittering.
if you look, Shiny, I programmed it to halve it already.
Oh, you've already halved it. Okay, so you do 20. So yes, your blast hits it, skittering across the its scales, causing it to roar out in pain once more. It's at this point that it gets to act.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, shizer.
Fish!
So,
Fish ain't working.
Have we tried luring it back with promises of a car industry again?
so it's
It's had food.
Have we considered throwing card? Taurus, you're the strength guy. You can try that.
Me for a car?
Yes,
Yeah.
Joe car. You do the one thing that we've yelled at you for doing in the past. It's not like anyone will miss it.
If you hit it in the face with a car, I will buy you a steak dinner.
Done.
oh, throwing things, it's always fun. Right.
Yep.
Angus
So-
Steakhouse.
Ooh. Ooh. You
Oh,
guys have just got very lucky. The creature whips its head round, gouting flame across the street. Anyone who has a DCV of 6 or lower, raise your hand now.
Oh,
Crap.
pops.
Oh wait, hang on, 6 or lower. Haha!
Whoa! I have a DCV of 8.
Same.
3.
Oh!
DCV?
25.
No, you're looking at
Oh,
value.
8. DCV of 8.
Yep.
DCV
So
of 8.
I do believe that
Oh.
none of you should be able to be hit with that because you've all got the same DCV.
For
So
dramatic effect, I will brush some imaginary soot off of my suit.
yeah,
That old?
the creature whips its head round, gouting flame across the street. Several cars explode along the way, as you know they've just had their tank set on fire, but no one gets hit.
Throw them.
I'm flying behind it.
You can
at
throw
this
the
point,
burning
I'm
husk!
I'm
Yes.
just sort of hovering behind and above its head. So I'm just watching it burn the street.
Yeah.
This
It's-
is going to lead to a lot of insurance claims.
It's
It's
roaring
joy.
in pain at this time. It's obviously not happy. Okay,
What's that?
so this brings us up to phase 4. Raise your
Yep.
hands if you're going on phase 4.
I am.
Sorry.
Eagle eye.
Okay. Right, again with the who goes first thing.
Who's on first?
So 3d6 plus your dexterity.
32.
Oh. 3d6 plus my dex. 20. 30.
Okay. With that roll there, that means that Tim is once again going first. Tim, you have first call.
I am still in front of the creature. I figured Taurus had the right idea. I dart between the legs.
Oh, you're going for the balls again, aren't you?
Oh, I am going for the balls again.
Nice to see we have similar thinking.
Oh,
Ring the
shit,
bells,
hang
sweet
on,
scaly
right,
bells.
I need to do some quick maths here because I'm using my side/spin kick.
Okay, which is a -2 to your attack.
So would that be OCV 6, 17, 11?
So, yes, because you rolled a 6 to hit there. So, yes, DCV of 11 means that in this case you hit it. So, roll the 12d6 strike that you've just performed.
Right in the plums.
32. Fuck's sake.
Okay. I'm just going to quickly do some figures here.
Does it not count as a weak area?
One plum.
I've not really determined any weak areas as yet. At least not that you know of. But yes, it does once again scream out in, pain. Pain is a word.
Even higher pitched.
Yes.
You must be nuts to keep trying this!
Oh! Oh, you're getting points deducted for that one.
Tim,
Yes?
Tim,
Yes?
you are not a Sailor Moon villain.
No, I am not. I
You
do
look like
have
one.
I would, however, like to have a running gag whenever the camera's following my character. The terror, which is just dinged over to 2.
That one and that
One day,
one.
Eagle Eye, you're going to learn that terrible puns don't make you a compelling character.
One of these days, you're going
Okay.
to learn how to walk.
Right. Okay. So yes, your strike hits it clean in the unmentionables.
Gentleman's area.
Yes. And it yet again, as I say, roars out in pain. Now you, the next person to go would be Squeak again.
Yep. And I'm gonna. Okay. So it's within 8 meters of us, isn't it?
Yes, if you've moved up close to it, definitely.
Well, I'm assuming if people are kicking it in the nads.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's like a giant ring.
So I am going to do my area of effect attack.
Okay.
It costs me 2 endurance points. So first I need to roll for my DCV, which is 3d6 plus 8, isn't it?
3d6. Sorry, the roll to attack. You're saying.
Yeah.
Right. So it's 3d6 on the dice, and then your OCV plus 11 minus what you've rolled on the dice.
I just noticed Eagle Eye's complication. Just a quick question, but when I flash gunned the big beast earlier, would that have set off his susceptibility to flash stuff?
I'm going to call it that you actually called the attack.
Cool.
Convenient shades are convenient, my friend.
Yes.
Okay. Plus 8.
So you've just rolled. No, sweetie.
Wrong way around, didn't I?
Yes, you rolled. Let me just do the maths on this one for you. So it's 8 plus 11, which is 19, minus what you roll on the dice, which in this case is 12. So that puts you at rolling a 7 to hit, which, as we've already established, is barely a hit. So roll your damage for your attack and halve it.
11.5.
I will be rounding down in this instance, so that will be 11 points of damage that you've just enacted on the creature. We then move on to the next phase. So we are in phase 5. Raise your hand if you're in phase 5.
Ding.
Is it just Taurus?
1 sec.
Oh, fuck.
How do you tell how much endurance you have, by the way?
That's your endurance stat on the character sheet.
You're looking at END.
Yep.
So is that the value that you're looking at? Sweet. I've spent 1 endurance.
Yep.
And it does reset when you reach the top of the round again, doesn't it?
No, it increases by your recovery, which is the REC. So you don't get all of it back at the end of a turn. So try not to burn through it all in one go, usually, is the phrase here. So,
Literally impossible.
you'd be surprised. Some characters can do it. So, in this...
Anyway.
I think I'm
Yeah,
about to.
yeah, in this instance, Taurus and Hardpoint should both be able to go at this particular point. So, you'll want to roll off against each other again.
Fuck, I don't even know what I'm doing.
It's 3d6 plus your dexterity. Which in this case is 23 for you there.
I was trying to work out which way it was for a second.
Yep.
Wrong math. There we go.
Okay, so on the dice here, Mel rolls a 35, Dan rolls a 38. This means that at this particular time, Dan will be going first.
Remember the bet.
Face.
Sorry, two people spoke at once there. I didn't catch that, Dan. What was that?
I'm gonna throw a carrot face.
Cool. Okay, so there are technically rules for that. Note the technically part, because I'm just going to quickly pull up some figures.
In other words, I can't throw a Mustang, but I can throw a Mini Cooper.
Yeah, you can lift 25 tons worth of equipment, you see, so that's quite a significant figure.
You make a very good roadie.
Yes.
No wonder Ramstam keep hiring me.
So, in terms of actual combat, if you wanted to throw things, this is a special maneuver.
I'm gonna mute and have a munch.
Yeah, go for it. Combat. Fighting. Optional combat maneuvers 84 is what I'm probably looking at. Choke, club, cover, dive, cover, nope. And no, don't freeze up on me, computer. That's a bad computer. Stop it. Okay, there we go. Diving for cover, hip shots, pouring a punch, snapshots, strafing, suppressing. Okay, I'm going to assume it's under martial for throwing then. It's in here somewhere. I know it is. Environmental. Okay, I'm just throwing objects. Range modifier. That's the one. So you're able to pick up the object, and throw it. The range is not the best because it's an unwieldy object. So throwing. So to perform a throw is at 0 OCV plus 0 DCV to your defense, and you must have something to throw: a rock, another character, piece of furniture, you name it. Depending on the type of missile, I may require you to grab it first, which I'm not going to because it's nearby. You can grab it. So if you throw the object at a target and your attack roll fails, it's just a miss. So in this case, what you're wanting to do is roll me the standard attack roll for your OCV. So it'll be 3d6, yep, and then...
It's value. Correct?
Sorry?
Is it plus its value?
3d6. So it's OCV plus 11 minus the 3d6.
3d6 plus the odd value.
No, it's OCV plus 11 minus 3d6.
Right, it's just exploded.
Okay, just type /R space 8, which is your OCV, plus 11 minus,
minus.
open brackets, 3d6, close brackets.
That makes more sense.
Yep.
11.
11, which, as we've established historically, that is actually a hit there. So, congratulations, you throw the object and it hits. So, throwing damage. The successful throw of the character's dice of strength damage to target, up to the maximum of the PD plus body, physical damage plus body of an object. For example, costume vigilante with strength 20 throws coffee mug. Someone does 2d6 of damage. So, your object we're throwing is a vehicle. It would help if I had the stats for a vehicle of that size. I know it's around here somewhere. Come on! I have these figures somewhere. So it's body plus. Oh yeah, okay. So this is why today is a good day to test out the different things that you can do, because it allows me to remind myself of how to do things and what to be prepared for. So for environments, objects, equipment, vehicles, characteristics. Need example vehicles. Oh, come on, equipment. So I'm assuming I need to be looking at 186 in the rulebook. So, car. We're looking at a four-door automobile, which means that its body is 14. Its physical damage, is it? Where's the PD on this thing? Oh, come on!
I'm remembering this is something that happened when.
For sake of simplicity, PD did apply throughout every structure. Yeah, this was a thing that we ran into when we first ran it, where it was a case of, for the first time we did it, it became kind of annoying. So, starting value of 2. So, in other words, it's 2 plus 14. So, you roll 16 d6, please.
We got there eventually.
Yes, I had to get the figures up for it.
16d6.
Yes, please.
50.
50 hit points of damage. Okay, yeah, so you throw this massive, this four-door vehicle across the street from where you picked it up into this creature, slamming heavily into the side. The creature it's knocked to the floor, letting out a giant roar of pain and agony.
So much greater than yours.
Agony, so much greater than yours.
Question: where in
Yeah.
the creature's body did it hit?
I'm gonna say that this was a solid strike to its upper torso.
Yes. My semi-broadcast doesn't have to shell out for a steak dinner just yet.
Thank you, God of War, for the follow. Thank you. Oh, and yes, the campaign we're doing, it's currently a one-shot of the using the Hero System game of a custom world known as the Heroes Games. This was, as I say, one shot at the moment, so currently, by the looks of it, wrapping up the combat here, because that has actually knocked the creature unconscious. It's taken enough stun damage to go down, seeing as no one's been using killing damage.
Ah!
Specifically, yeah, to be fair, I have a code against killing, so I'm good with that.
Yep.
The creature's down. I sort of radio in. The creature's down. What do we do with it now?
Right,
Kill it.
I
well,
don't know. We read it the Miranda rights.
Can I throw it in the river?
Please don't throw it in the
This is
river.
Detroit. That will kill it.
Isn't that
kill
what
it.
we're supposed to do?
No, got a giant pair of cuffs.
Has anyone actually paid attention to what we were actually supposed to do when we got briefed on the giant lizard problem?
Have
I
anyone seen
figured that
Robocop?
knocking-
as you stand over the creature, mulling over what to do with it, you hear behind you, "The drama was magnifique.
Fuck me, no!
That was perfect."
Out of character. Ah! In character. What the?
You
fuck
turn
are
around.
you?
Behind you, well, now in front of you because you've turned around, a tall gentleman wearing
Hero Junior!
a cloak that seems to and a half mask across the face. "That was magnificent. The drama." I am greatly impressed. You will do fine.
I beg your pardon.
Who are you?
What?
Why is there a tuxedo mask reject telling us what to do?
I'm talking about drama. Did anyone? I remember reading a weird report. Did anyone read Toledo's?
He steps
I've
closer
done
to you
some
all
reading.
as the world around you starts to fade to darkness,
Oh, hell no! Runs forward.
and the credits start rolling with the
Wait,
opening
what?
theme for the Heroes game.
Dan, are we seeing this?
Yes, you're seeing this.
Yeah, no, fuck this. Is he still in front of me?
No.
Innovation Ray. Innovation Ray.
Why am I higher than this person on these credits?
Is he still in my sight, Shiny?
No, the world is fading. And
what
you
the
feel
hell?
the pilot episode rolling to an end.
The fuck?
Why do I have a sudden sense of dread like I'm not going to be seen again?
Why did I steal RVD's weed?
This.
Guys, can you still hear me?
I can hear you. What the hell is going on? This is going to be a nightmare, isn't it? Well, time to.
That evening
Oh,
on the
God,
news, the Heroes Games Detroit team has gone missing after fighting in downtown Detroit.
Mm.
Oh.
After they finished slaughtering totally not Godzilla.
Yes. The Heroes Games spokesperson has yet to issue a statement on the missing individuals, and we will be keeping up with this particular turn of events as it rolls out. The Pacific Northwest team, however, are about to start their opening season, and we will be moving over to those next. So I'm going to say that this is the wrapping up point for this one here today. I do apologise, God of War, for not being able to respond to you just then. We don't currently have a Discord for this one, and it's currently not open for other slots. I do apologise. This will, however, be an ongoing campaign that will be running over the next few weeks as we move into actual plot. Next week will be a basic character gen, and then from there we will actually be running the main campaign. Now, I do apologise for the way that ended there, but I thought it'd be a bit of an interesting moment.
Shiny, from
Yes?
the deepest, blackest, evilest part of my heart, I fucking hate you.
I'm with Tim on this. As soon as I heard the clapping, my brain went, "Oh God, I know who's going to show up." And I've heard the stories of this character. Yeah,
Yes,
Dad,
well,
the short version is we were never going to win that fight.
I thought we did well.
We won the fight, but we didn't win the war.
Yeah.
yep.
Why is there a reality minute running around? It's not.
Why am I
fun
still
when
stuck
they
on the
can-
credits?
Is there a post-credit scene? Maybe it's our chance to escape! This fucker loves drama!
Post-credit scene. The Pacific Northwest team stepping out of their vehicle. Let's begin this.
That's the end credit scene. The mid-credit scene is, unfortunately, Eagle Eye having to buy Taurus his fucking steak.
Yes. So, as I say, this will be a weekly thing. Next week we will be doing some basic character gen examples so people understand how characters work. Would you guys be okay with me making the characters that we create available for people to download once we do actually create
Sure.
them, by the way?
I would be fine with that, considering that I know how hard this system is to generate for.
Yep. Which is fair enough.
Don't use a German
Sure.
accent on mine.
Yep.
Sure.
To be fair, I just imagine yours as a more weird version of Reinhardt.
We just so I can clarify, we're not playing these characters again, we will be generating our own, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yes. These characters were the placeholder ones that I pulled from the core rulebook so that you guys could have an understanding of how the system works.
So,
Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to do damage to you guys, but that would have basically... yeah, I was rather hoping that I would roll damage, okay? I was hoping for that. But yes, combat, as you can see, if played correctly, can be nice, smooth, and simple. It's very much a, as I said, rule of cool will always win. So yeah. Right. So as that pretty much wraps everything up, unless anyone else has anything else to say, I think we should call it there for tonight. Oh,
okay.
perfect timing on that that little sub-spar at the top there. So yes, thank you very much for joining us, those of you who did. We'll be aiming for a 8:30 start next week, and 8:30 for the following weeks afterwards. Stay safe, have fun, and don't drown.
Please.
We're gonna drown.
That's my line.